The 2022 NFL season has begun, and it's not been going great for some fans and certain teams. Many people who watch and analyze the NFL have pointed out that there have been some early disappointments within the season so far, but what are they? Stay tuned to today's video as we discuss the NFL's 3 biggest disappointments of the early 2022 season. Matt Ryan, QB, Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are a team that recently shook things off after coming off of a painfully short postseason appearance during last year's NFL season. This club jettisoned themselves with starting quarterback Carson Wentz and even swung a trade to bring in the famed Matt Ryan to the team, a move that the Indianapolis Colts hoped would now allow them to get back into contention for the NFL season. The first 2 weeks of the 2022 NFL season are now behind us, and the Indianapolis Colts might have been better off sticking with Carson Wentz rather than trading into Matt Ryan. During his first game in the Colts' career, Matt Ryan started throwing a whopping 50 passes against the Houston Texans team. In all of those 50 attempts, he only connected on 32 of those. However, he generated 352 yards and 1 touchdown while also throwing in deception and then losing a fumble during the contest. Being 37 years old, he showed off a lot of talent throughout his many flashes in the game. These made him a 4-time Pro Bowler and led to a furious comeback from a 20-3 fourth-quarter deficit, which forced overtime within the match. This ultimately led the game to end in a tie, but things looked much worse for the second week. During their next game against Jacksonville Jaguars, it seemed Matt Ryan couldn't get anything past their defenses. He completed just 16 of his whopping 30 passes for 195 yards throughout the game. During the match, he also failed to lead a single scoring drive in what finished the game with a 24-0 Indianapolis Colts loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was one of the worst performances throughout his 15-year career, and it rarely showed with his demeanor after the match. He came out in an interview and spoke about how his performance was unacceptable and believes that in the third week of the NFL 2022 season, he will turn things around against the Kansas City Chiefs. Here is what he had to say. "There's no doubt about it, we have to correct it. We know our performance could have been better in the first couple of weeks. We also have a tough group of guys, a proud group of guys that are all introspective and thinking about what they can do to help us play better as a unit. The Colts will have to take advantage of Matt Ryan to win in the column against a foe as strong as the Chiefs. They are currently 2-0 in the championship, and Matt Ryan is now trying to muster up enough power since leaving the Atlanta Falcons. He just wanted to make his new team proud of him, and sure, he was worth taking on." In the comment section below, let us know what you think about Matt Ryan's recent performance in the 2022 NFL season. Cam Akers, RB, Los Angeles Rams. Cam Akers was a promising rookie during the 2020 season, and it seemed like his second year back with the Los Angeles Rams was set to be phenomenal. He was one of the better stories during their Super Bowl run last year, but he suddenly went down in training camp with a torn Achilles. Instead of missing an entire year of the sport, he miraculously made his way through rehab and back in time for the season finale of the Super Bowl. Though he didn't dominate during the match due to his injury, he did create a memorable 2-game stretch, which tallied 221 yards and 2 scores on about 46 carries. This was nowhere near how powerful he was during his early rookie campaign, but it was nice to see him get back to the field and contribute to such a phenomenal championship. Cam Akers hasn't looked quite the same since his devastating injury a few years back. He has been averaging a meager 2.57 yards per attempt in his 4 playoff matchups during last season, whereas a healthier Cam Akers would have been 10 times better than this. So far in the 2022 season, he has yet to show any improvement, even before the NFL began. He has barely seen any kickoffs during his NFL games, tallying in a mere 12 snaps during the disappointing 31-10 loss against the Buffalo Bills. During this match, he was rushed 3 times, generated 0 yards, and was not targeted as a receiver even once. This shows the lack of trust his team hasn't had in him since his injury, which isn't the greatest when you want this teammate to perform well. During an interview, his head coach, Sean McVay, blamed Cam Akers' lack of usage on the game's rhythm at that time. He said he would try Akers to get him more involved within the second week of the NFL. His snap time increased, but his new value after his injury wasn't enough. Rather than Cam Akers being the driving factor for the Los Angeles Rams this season, Darrell Henderson Jr. is going to take back his lead. Henderson has outsnapped Cam Akers in every single game thus far this season, seeing the field for 69% of Los Angeles is offensive play, compared to a mere 30% from Cam Akers' backfield. Akers needs a breakout game during the season to take control of his position on the team. Otherwise, he will be one of the biggest disappointments at the running back position during the 2022 NFL season. Darnell Mooney, WR, Chicago Bears. During the Chicago Bears 2021 trying campaign, Darnell Mooney was one of the few bright spots. He went on to establish himself as the team's top wideout and greatly performed over the incumbent Allen Robinson, which allowed him to start building a rapport with a rookie quarterback by the name of Justin Fields. He racked up a whopping 45 catches and 605 yards over his final 8 games of the 2021 season, and it seemed like Darnell Mooney was about to be in for an incredible 2022 NFL season. Fields was prepared as the team starter during his first offseason match and got plenty of work with Darnell Mooney in training camp. Robinson had departed the free agency, and no high-end replacement pass catchers were brought to the table. Despite all of the advantages Darnell Mooney has had, he has yet to be able to capitalize on any of them. In fact, through the 2 games he's appeared in the season, it would be easy to argue that there have been no more disappointing wideout than his start to the season. Throughout his time in these 2 matches, the 24-year-old has only garnered a meager 5 targets, catching just 2 for a total of 4 yards. To put that into some form of perspective for you guys, at this point last year, Darnell Mooney had already had 11 catches with 15 targets for around 92 yards. In all his games in 2021, he had never had fewer yards than he tallied over the first 2 weeks of the 2022 NFL season. One thing that is at fault, other than himself, was the poor weather, as the opener played in a monsoon at Soldier Field. Then the Lambeau Field conditions were super wet the following week of the 2022 season. The Chicago passing game he also played in was atrocious across the board. During this season alone, the team is averaging the fewest yards in the league overall at around 216 per game, with around 76.5 passing yards, meaning that Darnell is largely responsible for this. This average throughout the season is only half what the number 31 ranked squad had been generating through the air. Darnell Mooney should get a chance to bounce back against the Houston Texans in the 3rd week of the season, but if we can't get his defense up, it seems like the Bears will have some major issues to sort out when it comes to Darnell Mooney. Let us know what you think about Mooney down in the comment section below, as he has easily been one of the most disappointing players this season, especially after the powerhouse of a season he had last year. And only some of the players we had to talk about in today's video. We could have gone over more, as other players were super disappointing this season, such as Kyle Pitts from the Atlanta Falcons and Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach from the Denver Broncos. This NFL season is shaping up pretty well, but these players have been very disappointing. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And that is the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please let us know in the comment section below. It would be very helpful. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.